to use the chat, use the Q&A. I'll be monitoring that, and we'll be asking those questions as they come in. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about who who we have speaking today. But before we do that, I want to thank our sponsors. We really can't do the work that we do without our amazing sponsors. American Guarantee Title is our presenting sponsor of Our Economy. They've been a sponsor of this for a long time, and we are so very grateful for their support of the work that we do. We also have some gold sponsors, the Cohen Mortgage Group and BC Materials. Again, great sponsors that really support the work that we do here at the Chamber. And then our silver sponsors, we have Carpenter and Croft, Kelly Realtors, Texas Animal Medical Center, Hilton Waco, Courtyard Marriott, Texas Tech University Waco, and then Diversified Product Development. A lot of these different sponsors have been sponsors for quite a long time, and we really appreciate your support of the work that we do. And speaking about the work that we do, we have a really special presentation today. I mentioned I'm on the economic development team here at the Chamber. We have a regional partnership with the city and the county to support the economic stability and growth in our community, ensuring that there are jobs and the workforce that we have here. There's just a lot of work that we do, and we have some really great partners that we do that work with. And you guys get to hear today from the leader of our economic development team, Kris Collins. She's going to be sharing some updates with you all about where we're at. There's no doubt that we've seen some challenging times in 2020, but I think Kris has some promise and good news for us. So Kris, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Thank you everybody for being on today and for joining us. Again, thank you to our sponsors. As Jennifer said, we couldn't do the work that we do without the support of the business community. And so glad to have everybody with us today. We're going to get kicked off. We want to honor the Our Economy and share some great news with you about the work that's underway to help grow the greater Waco area. So again, I'm Kris Collins, Senior Vice President for Economic Development. I've been with the Chamber for 15 years in this department, and so glad to be able to talk with you about where we've been, where we are now, and where we're going, because Waco is definitely on an upward trajectory. So I want to talk a little bit about, we have this unprecedented reality in front of us, and talk a little bit with you about the impacts of COVID that we've seen in the community. So I wanted to give a little bit of a backward perspective to say, where were we in December of 2019 and our labor force, talk about the impact that had to McLennan County in the April timeframe, and then where are we now? So December 2019, our workforce was just under 120,000, and our unemployment rate was very low, and we were really going through and growing at a pretty fast pace. You can see how those labor force trends were moving upward in January and February. March, the pandemic started impacting us at the end of the month, and so you can see that those labor force numbers started to come down, and then April hit, and that was where the true closure impacted our community. And our labor force almost overnight went from 120,000 individuals to just over 107,000. So that was a huge impact for us, and unemployment went from being in the 3% category all the way up to 10.7%. But the next month we saw some recovery, and then looking at June, recovery got even better. And now with July numbers, which are the most recent numbers that are available, you can see that our July 2020 number is almost the same level that we were at in December of 2019. So recovery has been good for us. Our unemployment rate is hovering around 6.5% right now. but as things continue to improve, we expect that that number will come down. The other area that I wanted to look at with you is sales tax trends. Spending in the community, really important in generating a lot of additional activity to the area. And wanted to show you, so in January, this is a year-over-year comparison. So we were 2.7% higher than we were in January 2019. February, we were 10% higher than we were in the previous year. March, still a little bit higher, but things were starting to shut down at that point. Spring breaks were being postponed and canceled, and then April hit. And so then we were 4% down for April and May, and then June took another dip. But July, we rebounded and we're actually 2.9% higher than July of 2019. So recovery seems to be taking a very quick upward trend for us. And then when you look at the unemployment claims that we've seen over the past few months, we were in March and into April, we saw our highest spike. I'd like to compare us against our 7-county region because that's really where we see a lot of movement within the labor force. And you can see that McLennan County was paralleling with Bell County. They, of course, had a much higher spike in their numbers and have not come down to below our area. But still, we're moving down pretty quickly, and that's a very good thing for us. So this is a really busy slide, but it's got a lot of really good information in it. This is looking at our Waco MSA, which is McLennan and Falls County combined, the employment by industry. And you can see that, that the areas that we dominate in predominantly are manufacturing, trade and transportation, education, health services, government, and professional services. The thing that I wanted to show you with this is the average. The white line indicates the yearly change that we've seen, that each of these industries has seen. So for instance, with construction, the year-over-year change is actually a 5.1% increase in the employment for that industry, whereas hospitality and leisure is a negative 22.5%. And that's really to be expected with the impacts that we've seen of the pandemic. Hospitality, tourism, those areas have been slower to recover than other places. So of course, a negative number means that there has been a dip in that area. If it's 0 or higher, it means either no change or that there has been positive improvement. And then the orange line is the month-over-month change. So that looks like 1.2% month-to-month change in construction. Manufacturing had a great month from June to July of 5.9%. Trade and transportation, 1.9%. Financial activities, almost 1.5%. Professional services continue to grow, as does education and healthcare. And that's to be expected. You know, schools are coming back into session, needing additional employees. Leisure and hospitality saw an increase from June to July in their numbers as well. So, you know, those are areas we know that are going to happen a little more slowly, but they will absolutely come back. Some of those industries have had very little to no impact. So I think a lot of what you could say though is that it's a lot due to our diversity of our economy. So when we do this presentation, we gather this data on a monthly basis called the Greater Waco Economic Index, and it takes a number of different inputs: spending, construction, housing, sales and new construction starts, unemployment and labor force, a lot of different inputs that go into this. And you can see with this that we had hit an all-time high of our economic index in February of 2020 at 134.6, started coming down just slightly in March. Of course, April, there was a significant dip, and May and June were also low. But July we started to see the movement going back up. And I think this goes back to the questions of whether or not we were going to have a V-shaped recovery, a W, a Nike swoosh. There are just lots of different projections of what that's going to look like. And it will look differently across the United States, and it'll probably look differently across the state of Texas. But for us, I think it's going to be overall, when you look at the entire economy, we're probably going to be more of a V shape than a flat line. So again, I was talking a little bit about our diversity. I think that's one of the things that really has been a safety net for us through this pandemic. A lot of diversity in our economy. No one industry dominates the marketplace, and usually when one sector is down, another one's up. And we've very rarely seen negative growth in our local economy. And I think that's one of the things that we focus on in our own work, is that diversification of our industry sectors is really important. Connecting with our education resources and helping them identify areas that we can continue to grow and diversify from a labor perspective is also very important in the work that we do. So what's been happening? Well, we've had a lot of growth in the midst of a pandemic. And, you know, there are times, I mean, certainly there are lots of people in this economy that continue to hurt and need opportunities and need hope. But we feel like there's certainly a lot of areas of lights at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. So we have already announced 7 projects for the year, resulting in the announcement of 248 additional new jobs, retaining over 1,100 workers in those businesses, investing $70 million in new capital into the community, and then 405,000 square feet of new and absorbed space in the marketplace. And what you have behind you or on the screen is a picture of Zinc Power Waco. This is a project we announced last year. It's a 160,000 square foot facility that is currently under construction on Texas Central Parkway and Mars Drive in the Texas Central Park area. It's once it's open, it's slated to have 100 new jobs. It's a $32 million capital investment, and it will be completed mid next year. So we're very excited about this new company coming into the community, the investment that they're making. This is their first greenfield site in the United States, and we're very pleased to be the home for this business. So what do those other projects look like? The seven projects: Texas Meter and Device. Aspen Custom Trailers is a Canadian-based business establishing a manufacturing and sales operation in Waco. Their facility is under construction right now at the corner of Gateway Boulevard and Texas Central Park. Holt Cat has acquired the former Caterpillar manufacturing facility on Texas Central Parkway and is finishing up retrofit and starting production there for their facility. We just announced an expansion opportunity with Tractor Supply and a $9 million expansion that they're working on now. SpaceX, we've been working with them for many years, and I'm glad to be able to support additional growth at that facility. Ryonet is a distributor of screen printing materials that will be joining us. They are based out of Washington State and expanding a distribution facility into our market. Laminate Technologies is an Ohio-based company that provides building trades materials, specifically in the laminated industry. And we're glad that they'll be establishing a manufacturing and distribution facility in our market as well. But you know, we're really watching what's happening right now. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty out there, but optimism is incredibly high right now. Dr. Ray Perryman did a presentation with Baylor a few weeks ago, and one of the things that he noted was that economic development is going to get a lot harder in the coming months and years. There will be a lot of competition, and our job here at the Chamber is to make sure that Waco is well positioned, and the greater Waco area is well positioned to capture as much of the opportunity and growth that's on the horizon. We're watching the costs of construction. They've been high and they're going to continue to grow. And so we want to make sure that we can do anything on our part to help with that. Pressures on infrastructure are continuing to grow, and that creates additional challenges for communities. And there are absolutely the fact that COVID-19 impacts have not been fully realized yet. Even within our own organization, it's likely that we'll feel the effects of this for the next 1 to 2 years, and that's something that's likely for small businesses across the community, across the state, and across the country too. But we feel that we're well positioned to be able to help as best we can, and to provide as much support through our efforts in economic development, but also in our public policy initiatives and communicating with our elected officials so that they understand in real time how their work impacts our community. And then, we want to make sure that the things that we do as a community help support growth and generate revenues for infrastructure growth, but we don't want to stifle the work of our economic development initiatives in bringing new businesses into the community. So we pay really close attention to those to make sure that Waco is viewed as a very business-friendly area for growth. So we have some new brags to share with you. Waco is the #1 community in the state of Texas for manufacturing job creation. In between June and July of this year, we've added 900 additional jobs in our community specific to manufacturing, which results in a 5.9% increase. When you look at that, we've led the state against other metro areas, including Round Rock, El Paso, Fort Worth, and Amarillo. But then when you look at the concentration of manufacturing jobs across the state, the LQ stands for location quotient, and that means that it is a concentration of a specific type of job. 1 means that you have an average, so anything that's above 1 means that you have a higher concentration of that, and if you're below 1, that means that you have less than the average number of jobs that you would typically see for that particular skill set or industry. So you can see Beaumont Port Arthur has the highest concentration of manufacturing jobs in the state of Texas, where they actually saw a decrease in the number of jobs between June and July. We have very close LQ and saw a 900 job increase. We're really excited about that, and we want to continue on that trajectory. And I think a lot of that goes again back to the diversity of the types of manufacturing jobs that we have in this marketplace. So what are some of the other things that we watch as we're pulling together our forecasts for the community? You have the Purchasing Managers Index, which is a national index that we watch really closely. It's based off of the purchases of manufacturers across the United States. They submit to this, and anything that is at 50 or above indicates a positive developments within the industry, and anything that is 50 or below is a negative situation. So you can see in April, of course, there was absolutely a downward trajectory with the index there. Started to see a recovery come back in May. June was very, very good. July also positive, and then the August numbers just came out, and again they saw an increase. And we want to make sure that what they're seeing from a purchasing manager's perspective coincides with business confidence, which is across all industry sectors, not just manufacturing. And you can see that since April, starting in May, business confidence continues to rise, and that's good for us. That means that businesses really see that there is the light at the end of the tunnel, and we feel that within the community as well. One of the things that we want to just showcase in the work that we're doing is that there is a lot of opportunity out there and we're doing everything that we can to bring that back into the community. So when we look at the what's on the horizon from a growth perspective, this year and next year could be record years of announced projects for us. And so when a project announced, just like I mentioned on Zinc Power, that's a project that announced in 2019, construction through 2020, which is generating economic activity, particularly for the construction industry. And then 2021, business operations start with permanent primary sector jobs created that are going to continue generating new activity, business activity, and also tax generation with real and personal property taxes. And so a 2020 announcement this year will generate additional activity in 2021, 2, and 23, and then so on and so forth for as this moves on. But we have 11 really strong projects in our pipeline, primarily in manufacturing, distribution, and professional services. These would represent an additional 3,000 new jobs into the marketplace, over 5.5 million square feet of new construction. I think that's important too, because the multiplier effect that goes into any project that we look at that has construction associated with it means that there's additional opportunity, not just for what the company's going to bring here with their own business activity, but what is generated through the construction industry within the community. And all of this results in about $800 million worth of new investment that is potentially coming into the marketplace. So very strong activities in the market right now. I think part of that goes into there are lots of companies looking outside of major metro areas. There tends to be, based off of what we've heard with site consultants, that companies are looking outside of largely congested areas. Waco is well positioned to be a recipient for those types of businesses, giving proximity to larger metro areas, but without some of the negative impacts that they're seeing there. So I wanted to just end with one last piece here. If you've not seen this, I want to share it with you. It is a great snapshot of the community. We hope that you'll share it with people outside of the area, because we want everyone to be very, very proud of what Waco has to offer. Hopefully it works.
We've been called the next great city in Texas. A city of builders, innovators, doers, launching toward the future. A city where the students of today will be the leaders of tomorrow. A city where hard work is part of our DNA. A city of people who enjoy life and the sweetness of each day. A community where people make the difference and everyone can prosper. Welcome to Waco.
We did see it, Chris, but there was some comments that it was pretty choppy. I don't know if everyone experienced that or not, but that is on our YouTube channel.
Sure. Well, it's on our chamber YouTube channel, and we would love for people to go and visit it there or share it with others. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen and
You broke up right there, then, Chris. If you did you say if they have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. I have one question here. It asks if we can post the link in the Q&A section here. So we will post the link to that video. I'm trying to see if there were any other questions. I'm getting a lot of thank yous on here, Chris.
Well, thank y'all. We really appreciate you being with us today.
Two more messages. Nope. Great presentation. All very encouraging. So I don't see any other questions on here. No other questions. Just great job. So
Well, I just want to say thank you to our community partners. We couldn't do the job that we do without partnership, and the city, the county, all of the colleges. Everybody comes to the table. We were fortunate to be able to host clients in yesterday, and they were just so impressed with how we are able to come together as a community. And not everybody has that ability, so we should be. Sometimes we forget to recognize the partnerships that we have here. So thank y'all.
excellent. All right, well, I guess we will wrap it up then. And once again, thank our sponsors for their ongoing support. Thank you to AGT, American Guaranteed Title, as our presenting sponsor, and then again, all of our gold and silver sponsors. We really can't do the work that we do and all of those wonderful things that Chris talked about if we don't have the support from the community. So we really appreciate that. And I'm grateful to be on the team with Chris, and I know Lexi and Seth, Debbie, Rachel, all of us here are proud of the work that we get to do. And thank you guys for joining us today. And I'm not sure what the date for the next one is. As you guys know, Seth usually does the introduction and the close here, but we will get that information out to you. And perhaps if it's in the next quarter, maybe it'll be face-to-face. So thank you guys. Hope everybody has a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend, and stay safe and healthy. Bye, guys.
Hi, guys.